Golfers, how far do you hit your irons? Do you hit them as far as you want? Well, today we're going to be talking about compressing the ball and dynamic loft. Compressing the ball is a very important topic when it talks to the golf swing. If you want to hit your irons farther, you need to compress the ball. Typically what I see for golfers that don't hit the ball far is they try and help the ball up in the air rather than the loft of the club do the job. Typically what you need to do with an iron swing when you're coming down is at impact, you want to make sure that the hands are in front of the club at impact. We don't want the club to get to the ball before the hands. That would be called flipping at it or adding loft or trying to help the ball up in the air. If we come down and at impact, turn those hips out of the way, get the hands more forward, we're able to compress the ball. And what happens is there's going to be less loft presented on the club at impact. That is dynamic loft. So I'm going to be talking about my particular 7-iron here today. My 7-iron is the Callaway Apex TCB. It has 34 degrees of stated loft on it. I do not want to present 34 degrees of loft. I want to probably have 8 or 10 degrees left at impact to compress the ball. I definitely don't want more. That would obviously be an indicator of adding loft. So compressing the ball is so important. You will notice here today that we're going to probably pick up 18, 20 yards of distance with iron swing with the same club speed when comparing a compressed shot versus not compressing the ball. Before we get started, please subscribe to my channel. I'm a new channel here and I'm really excited to bring you the content and I could really use your help, so please subscribe. Let's get to the testing phase. Time to do some testing and compare some swings with a very well compressed shot and a poorly compressed shot. So as a reminder, a well compressed shot as you're coming through is those hands are going to be forward a little bit more. What I'm going to do intentionally at first for the first 5 swings is I'm going to intentionally feel like my hands are back and I'm going to try and help the ball up in the air. So a lot of golfers generally like to do. After that I'll hit 5 shots with compressed shot where I'll feel like the hands are a little more forward and I'll let the loft of the club get the ball up in the air. So first off, poorly compressed shots. Let's take a look at the numbers and see what we can find out. So on that particular shot, there was 34 degrees of loft on the club at impact, so dynamic loft. This club, Callaway Apex TCB irons, what I play, the stated loft is 34. So 34 degrees of loft and also presented 34 degrees of loft. And that ball only carried 151. That one had 33 degrees of loft on it. Might have gone just a little bit further. Carried 165. And 165 is not what I normally carry my 7-iron. All right, so that one had 34 degrees of dynamic loft presented at impact. Looked like the carry was in the mid 160s again. And I can tell you, just by where that ball was hitting the screen, it just looks like it's launching so high. That one had 33 degrees of dynamic loft. So launching really high up there. Let's hit one more. All right, so that one had 34 degrees of dynamic loft. So remember that. My club I currently play has 34 degrees of loft, stated loft on it with the specs, and I was presenting about 34. So at impact, the shaft obviously clearly was pretty much straight up and down. It wasn't forward, it wasn't back, it was like just straight up and down. However, we clearly want to be turning those hips out of the way and be in a more compressed position. So that's what I'm going to do now, is I'm going to switch this tag over to a more compressed shot. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit those 5 shots in a very compressed position. Let's just see what this changes. Didn't feel like I hit it absolutely flush. There was less loft on the club at impact, so 24 degrees. Yeah, went further, 172 carry. However, I typically carry at about 180, so that's why I know I didn't quite catch that one perfect. That one felt flush. That one felt like I hit that pretty good. Also 24 degrees on the dynamic loft. And it looks like, let's see what the carry distance was that, 182. There we go. Yeah, didn't quite catch that one as well. That one felt like it was just a little heavy again. Once again, my misses are so much better. You can see that total distance 170, so much better on the miss hit. That one felt good. That one felt like I compressed that one really good. Yep, so that one, the dynamic loft was 23 degrees. So we're seeing about 10 degrees less. When we look at the numbers, we'll see how close that is. And that one carried 186. One more shot with a compressed position. Feeling like as I'm coming through, turning my hips out of the way, and the hands are more forward at impact. Maybe a touch higher, up 25 degrees on the dynamic loft. The face was a touch more open. But I think the results will be very interesting to talk about. So let's look at the results. I think the results speak for themselves here. What we're noticing here is we're getting faster ball speed, higher efficiency, lower launch angle, higher carry distance and total distance when we compress the ball. I'm going to get out of the way here and talk about the numbers so you can see everything. What you can see is the difference was about 7 miles an hour here in ball speed, 115 to 122. Launch angle on a poorly compressed shot launched at 23. Compressed shot around about 16. And then you can see over here carry distance and poor compression 161. Going 170. On a well-compressed shot, 177, going 188. And here is the club data just so we can see this. So if we're looking at this, dynamic loft, this is the big difference. When you compress the ball, there's going to be less loft on the club compared to the stated loft at impact. If you do not compress the ball, that dynamic loft there is going to be higher. So we can see here there was about a 10-degree difference in dynamic loft. So that is huge. That is a really, really important piece to focus on. So I'm going to give you one technique here that I use with my players to explain how to improve compressing the ball. So what I'm going to do is I am simply grabbing an alignment stick, and I'm going to be placing it behind the club like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do this with a wedge, and we're going to hit shots where this shaft here is underneath the left armpit by your left hip. And as we're coming through, we're going to make sure that this does not hit us in the left side. It's only going to be a half swing, so to about 9 o'clock position through to about 9 o'clock, but this is going to get the feeling of bringing those hands down and through. This is some wedge shots. I like to call this the compression pitch. The reason I call it compression pitch is it's hard to do on a full swing because eventually when you're coming through, this here is gonna hit you on the side. But it gets you used to the feeling of when you're coming through of turning those hips out of the way and not letting this alignment stick hit us in the side. So we're coming down, we're here, this is not hitting me in the side. You can see as I'm coming down, those hands, that alignment stick's way over here, and then we turn those hips, it'll never hit us in the side. So let's just do a few here. So it's going to feel uncomfortable because obviously it's something weird on your hand. You could tape it to your club if you want to. And all we're doing here is hitting little half swings back to about 9 o'clock and then through to here. And what we're focusing on is not letting this hit you in the side. That was good. All right, so remember dynamic loft? My pitching wedge has, I believe it's 46 or 47 degrees of loft on it. I might have lofted up 1 degree for my gapping. That one had 31 dynamic loft because the shaft coming through was forward. Another really good one there. So if I'm coming through and if I do not compress the bowl, you can imagine what's going to happen with this alignment stick. I'll move it closer here. If I do not compress it, I'm going to get stabbed with this. I'm not saying we want to stab anyone, but that would be the reminder. If I was hitting some shots here and I came through and this kept hitting me in the side, eventually over time, I would want to get my hips out of the way, right? But it's the hands dropping, coming through, then turning around to not let it hit you in the side. I'll do one more. All right, so that is dynamic loft and compressing the bowl. If you compress the bowl, as you notice here today, we picked up about 18 yards with a full swing 7-iron. That is almost a club and a half coming into the green. So instead of needing to hit your 9-iron, now you're going to be hitting your wedge in. You're going to hit shots closer to the green if you're using a club that has less loft on it and is shorter. So compressing the bowl, I hope this really helped you out to understand how to compress the bowl, why it's important. Please stay tuned for the next video, and also please subscribe to my channel so I can grow this channel even more. Thanks for watching.